All right. So everybody, thanks so much for listening to the podcast. If you're listening to us for the first time, please like, subscribe, and share. If you're listening to us on the radio, we thank you for that. And please tell your friends and your family to start listening if they haven't started yet. We greatly appreciate that. We have Evie Brooks. She is a former advanced rich dad, poor dad trainer, real estate educator and investor, and also My Panama Vacation Realty founder. You can find out more about her on mypanamavacationrealty.com. Again, eviebrookspanama.com. So either one of those websites works. But Evie, first of all, thanks so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to come on and speak with the audience tonight.
Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Right. So, I was very intrigued by your story in international real estate. That's not something that's really spoken about, at least in in the realm that I'm in. So I'd love for you to talk about it. What made you want to choose to move into international real estate and focusing on specifically Costa Rica and Panama?
Well, actually, I started wanting to become a part-time expat early in the 2000s. And when I started teaching with the Rich Dad organization, I had an opportunity to actually go to Costa Rica to teach the International Expat Investing Program. And so I jumped on it, and that's what I did. And I was down there and just fell in love with it. And I stayed in Costa Rica until 2012, just hanging on after 2008 because the market crashed. And when it crashed in 2008, Costa Rica crashed hard, really hard. It never recovered. So after 4 years of hanging on, waiting for things to come back, which it never did, I finally just crossed over the border and went to Panama, where the Panama Canal is, and things have just continued to click along ever since that time. So I should have done it a lot sooner, but I'm one of those that I'm going to stay in there and keep going until there's obviously no recourse.
Do you see a lot of Americans vacationing in Panama, Costa Rica, in that area?
There's a lot of vacationing going on in both locations. Costa Rica is great for just vacationing, but that was the problem because Costa Rica is tourism only. When the market crashed in 2008, and again with COVID, it's a huge problem. But Panama doesn't have that problem. The GDP is very strong based on the Panama Canal, the Cobre copper mines, the construction from the growth in the marketplace. And it's just kind of a trickle down effect. And so Panama just keeps clicking along when these other tourism countries really suffer.
When we talk about real estate and as far as globally, specifically Panama, for the young people that are listening, whether they're Gen Z or millennials, why do you think, first of all, they should invest in real estate in general, but specifically also for the second question in Panama?
Well, Panama has an opportunity because it is a country that is a very strong GDP, from 2008 all the way until 2020 when COVID hit, the GDP averaged over 6.5%, all the way up to 11%. Wow. And so very strong GDP. And the fact that you've got just a really nice warm climate year round, the fact that there's so much to do there, the fact that you do not have to speak Spanish to be there, the fact that it's the US dollar based economy. And the growth, there's so much growth. You've got Johns Hopkins affiliated hospitals there. So the Americans love that. You've got great medical care and you've got wonderful views. And most of the buildings are similar to Singapore and high rise. In downtown Panama, there's just nowhere to spread out. So everything goes straight up. And so with that, they're built with the hurricane codes, even though that you don't have the hurricane problems down there. And the fact that they're so solid and so secure, you don't have the rising sea level issues, the flooding issues, and you don't have any of those problems.
So, when we talk about real estate, and I want to get into this now as far as Panama, and then, like I said, at the end, I want to talk about the US. It seems like specifically in this country that it's still a seller's market, but we're starting to maybe level out in different parts of the country. Can you specifically talk about that in Panama and, how the real estate market is going there right now? Is it starting to level out? Is it still a seller's market? Is it a buyer's market? What's going on there?
It's never changed there like it has in the United States. Now, we still have that seller's market in Atlanta, Georgia, like no man's business. We put a house on the market for an open house on Saturday, and Sunday we take offers. And that's just the way it is. And it has not started to level off here at all yet. But in Panama, we haven't had that. It's people just go and look for what they want. The prices did not go through the roof. So you don't have people offering, 10, 20% above the asking price and standing in line. That's not happened down there at this point. You've got, I believe that Panama is the next little Singapore, if you will, but it's not imminent. It's not right now. And so the prices have stayed constant and consistent. They haven't gone down, but they haven't gone through the roof like this ridiculous stuff. And that's why we had so many people investing in Panama. Many people sight unseen, because they're like, we're not going to put our money in these ridiculous prices in real estate in the United States. That's not an investment. That is just, buying from emotion for the most part.
I agree 100%. Again, Evie Brooks here on. If you want to find more about her, mypanamavacationrealty.com and also eviebrookspanama.com. So, speaking about what's going on in Panama, I was told that there's a lot of agricultural investing opportunities. Can you speak about that as far as how that's different from the U.S.?
Well, the opportunities there are these large, massive agricultural companies that they are the management company. They do all of the work. They have all of the equipment. You come in and you buy a hectare or 10 hectares, which is 2.47 acres per hectare. And you have your own little farm, but somebody else is doing the work. And typically the split's going to be an 80-20 or 70-30 kind of split. You get the majority of that. They get a small management fee, but they're doing it for thousands and thousands and thousands of hectare or acres of land. And so it is a winning proposition. These are companies that have been in the farming and agricultural industry for a very long time. Now, you have to be careful to make sure that you're connecting with the right companies and that you are with companies that are reputable and that have been around for a long time, just like in real estate. But you got everything from, coffee to pineapples to dragon fruits to passion fruit to melons of all kinds and berries of all kinds. And so you've got a lot of opportunities to be able to get in those types of things.
Can you talk about what's going on in this country right now with working from home, how maybe that's affected the real estate market and making people move to different parts of the country where, it's enjoyable because it's warmer all the time and maybe there's more things to do?
Absolutely. We've seen so much of the movement from the big major cities to more of the suburbs. People want to get away and out from, the mass people and the mass transit and all of that kind of stuff because of what has happened. But they're also just wanting their space where they have the ability, used to, if they lived in high-rise condominium type things in the States, they're restricted to, what they were able or capable of doing because of the, the chance of, the spread of the coronavirus. Where if they have their own single family type homes, they're in locations where they're beautiful. They have got great views. They can go outside. They don't have to worry about their neighbors. They have ocean views or they have lake views or they have, something that they are really intrigued by, be it a farm or, whatever. A lot of people are looking for land where they can actually, grow their own food or, there's a lot of different reasons why we're seeing what we're seeing. But you're right. People are moving into Florida by the droves. I've been looking for a place in Florida for almost a year now, and the prices are just astronomically ridiculous. And I'm just going to sit back and wait until the time is right, because I personally don't feel like right now is the time to be paying those over fair market prices for this real estate.
So we hear a lot about this on our show. We've had some people in real estate come on and speak about this, Evie, about, these companies like BlackRock that are buying up all these homes. They're buying up all these units, like you're saying, and they want to make this a rental society. A lot of millennials are worried about this too, and especially with the economy extremely unstable right now. They're worried about that. Can you talk about that issue and what you believe is going on with that? Do you think that this could become a crash aspect? Maybe not as bad as 2008, but it could end up as a big problem where we're going to have a rental society and people not being able to afford to buy these homes because they have $500,000-$600,000 everybody in the country is not making that kind of money to afford those homes.
True. That's true. And the people that are buying now are people that have money, whether they've made it
Yeah.
recently or if they've inherited it's old money,
True.
whatever. You've got a lot of the cryptocurrency money that has come into the marketplace in a big way. But what I see happening is the same thing that happened in 2008, maybe not to that extent and maybe a whole lot more. I don't have a crystal ball, so I can't tell you what's going to happen. I wish I knew, but I do believe between the midterm elections this year and the presidential elections in 2024, we are going to see massive changes. And what I do know and what I do believe, I've been in this industry for a long time, for over 25 years, is that what goes up must come down, and that I believe that this is a house of cards, and this house of cards is going to come crashing down eventually. I just don't know when. That's the problem.
I do want to get into this. So, you talked about this, obviously not having a crystal ball, but what you saw, you believe that between the midterms and the presidential, this is going to probably drop like a rock then.
I don't know if it's going to drop like a rock. I'm going to say for sure 15 to 25%, but it could be a whole lot more than that. It could be a whole lot more than that. And like I said, there's no way that I know. If the economists don't know, there's no way that I can know. I just have a gut instinct from having been in this for so long and watching the industry and watching how things go. I just honestly believe that we're going to see probably at the very least 20%, maybe up to 45%.
Wow, that's crazy. Well, if you got your money, save it. Like you said, sit on it, because you could have a field day pretty soon. As we go toward the end of the interview, what do you hope people learn from this interview that, as we spoke about today, Evie?
Well, I absolutely believe that investment in real estate is the best hard asset that you can have, bar none. And the thing is that people are afraid to invest internationally, but I will tell you, investing internationally in Panama is actually easier than buying real estate in the United States. And so having that money tied up in a hard asset that nobody can access, we can do owner financing, you can do non-recourse loans. You don't even have to be able to qualify with a FICO score or tax returns or anything like that with the programs that we have established. You have the ability to build quite a significant portfolio and have that money tied up and leverage it because you're only going to put down 10, 20, or 30%, and have multiple units that you can use for, rental property, and just hold that property, especially if you're looking to hold for, 4 or 5 years up to 10 years. Now, I never hold anything more than 10 years, nothing. I'm in, I'm out. Most of the stuff that I purchase typically is about a 4 to 5, maybe 6 year hold time. And then I flip it, roll it into 2 more projects or properties. I take the profit from that and roll them in multiple more properties. And so that's how I've always done mine. I call it packing the pipeline. And I just think that, I don't know that sitting on cash right now is what I would suggest. I would absolutely suggest putting that money into real estate. But in the United States right now, it just doesn't make sense. I can't tell any of my mentor clients or any of the clients that I teach that I think that they should invest in the United States right now.
You just listened to Evie Brooks. If you want to find more about her, again, mypanamavacationrealty.com and also eviebrookspanama.com. Evie, thanks so much for your time. It was really great to learn all these issues. I hope the people that listen learned. And if they have any information that they want to send to you, definitely contact you. I appreciate your time, Evie.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for having me.